Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to the Fly the Flag podcast. We're a mortgage show. We talk about mortgage things for mortgage people and with mortgage people, all the mortgagey stuff. I'm Mike Ferrossi, my co-host Jonny Fowler. How you doing today, brother?
I am doing wonderful. It is great to see you. I've been traveling a little bit this week, and believe it or not, it's kind of funny. Just as many of these as we've been recording and getting to know each other, I was actually really looking forward to this one today, just because I haven't been in touch with you since the end of last week. So
I can't blame you for having some mic withdrawals.
That's
there.
the truth.
I'm pretty amazing. Yeah,
that's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. I think they actually even have a wing at the Mayo Clinic or the Betty Ford Clinic for people who go through withdrawals.
It was just a couple of rooms the last time I checked. I'm glad that's been upgraded. It's good to see they're making the changes. But they don't have to.
Hold on, even better than that. Even better than that. I get to see you at the end of next week for our
in person. Yeah, it's branch manager conference time. I'm looking forward to it.
Like shoot spitballs at you while you're moderating and stuff like that.
That's cool. I look forward to it.
Right.
I got to be kept on my toes.
No joke. No,
absolutely. But luckily for all the people watching and listening right now, they don't have to put up with this for the next 20 or 30 minutes because we have a guest. We have a guest today.
Forward to this one. I'm a huge CRM fan. I'm really looking forward to this one.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. This guy has 24 years experience in the business. He is CEO and founder of Insellerate. And I'm going to go ahead and welcome in friend to the pod, Josh Friend. How's it going, buddy?
Great. Thanks, Mike and Jonny, for having me on.
Absolutely.
No, I'm glad to have you.
Jonny, I know you got some good questions, some good talking points here. It's a tough time in the industry right now. I'm going to let you have at it. What do you got for us today?
So here's some things that I've got. Now, I'm a huge fan of CRMs. I started in this business in 1994, and we really didn't have them. I mean, we didn't even have real LOSs back then. And I'm really looking forward to talk to Josh. He's got 24 years in this business. He's got mortgage side. He's got operations side. Not only that, he's got tech side building this system. He's the founder of Insellerate. And I am a tech geek when it comes.
And it seems that you guys also have the same barber.
We actually
it's looking really good over there.
And I appreciate you saying that. So if Josh is coming to the convention, we're going to hold you down, go out back, and introduce you to our
There we go. That's cool.
Punk ass kid.
I'm fine. I got like 40 hats inside. You'll never see the same one twice.
All right. But so, Josh, tell me where this got started. I want to go back because I would imagine Insellerate started theoretically 24 years ago when you got into this business and saw flaws or saw where there was openings to make things better. If you would, man, just introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background on you, and then I want to know where you came from and where this system came from.
That's a great question. Actually, it's probably right now pretty an opportune time to have this conversation of maybe where my story and where I came from, because I was loan officer, and it's very similar to today. So this is 1999. I come out of a month-long training program. I'm ready to make money. I'm 22. I'm about to be a dad, so I'm really gotta make some money. I get on the sales floor, and within the first week, the rates go up by 1.25%.
Well, thank God that's never happened to anybody else.
Never happened to anyone. Yeah. So here I am, and I'm at IndyMac Bank. There's 150 loan officers on our sales floor, and the phone stopped ringing, and everyone started kind of complaining. People wanted to take different jobs, all different kinds of things. But for me, I'm like, well, I just came out of training. This is my job. I'm 22. I need to make this work for me, and What happened was IndyMac Bank had one of their marketing people, a guy named Chuck Holroyd, he'd been in the industry for a long time, came in and gave us access to their portfolio. Told everyone, loan officer, I'm going to give each one of you, go online, each day you have a login, you can pull down 10 names and file information, instead like what their original loan was, type and stuff. And I'll give you 10 people you can call a day. You each only get 10. So I came back to my sales team, there's 10 of us. Everyone's like, F that, I'm not calling. I'm like, really? And I said, can I have your 10? 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 So now I had 100. Now they'd print them up. Then eventually they're like, I don't want to print them up for you, Josh. I'll just leave my computer open during lunch. Okay. So lunch, I go in there. So now I had 100 a day. I took those 100 a day, went home and priced all 100 loans by man. This was pricing sheets and reduced stock, stated income. I sometimes priced 2 and 3 different types of programs. So I had to come out with 200 or 300 pricings all through the night. And then the next day I would take the top 20 or 30 that I knew I could save money for, and I was relentless. I just called them. Lo and behold, I was making $15,000, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month, and people were leaving and complaining and moving back in with mom and dad. So I learned, though, and that was I was very systematic, right? So I had like spreadsheets I'd printed up, I had paper taped to my wall with like little checkpoints. So every day I had to like ask for the business like 25 times, and I made a check every time. There's certain things I had to do and certain processes I had to do, and I had my like different file of, it was paper though. It was paper with some outlines on it that I could handwrite into to keep track, and I'd flip the page each every whatever time it was a new page I had to get into. But that was systematic, and that systematic approach really worked for me, and I became really successful. I did really well, and in 2002 I left and started my first mortgage company. 2003 we had over 100 employees, and I wanted to teach people the same thing. How do you manage a system? How do you be systematic about your approach? People, it's not the top loan producer.
Systematic can seem a little intimidating for some people. It's just really about building good routines and holding yourself accountable to them.
That's right, holding yourself accountable. The top producers don't end up at the end of the year with top producers, and they don't go, "Oh shit, here's how I just got here." No, they had a plan, they had a process, and they had something they put into practice, right? And so they put those things into practice, and that's how they became successful. It's
but
like
they also have the ability to change the practice, to navigate when something happens. One of the things, Mike and I do this all the time, but one of the things that I can find every single time we ever talk to somebody who's successful is they found an opportunity when everybody else was either scared or not knowing what to do. They found an opportunity. So as soon as you were talking,
or if it was undervalued, finding the arbitrage.
Well,
right?
So here's what I said to myself. I'll just tell you my personal mantra, because it was tough. I'm on the sales floor, everyone's complaining, and it could be very similar. If you're in sales and you don't believe in the product or you don't think you're going to sell anyone, trust me, you're not going to sell anyone.
Get out.
It's not going to happen. So I sat there, and so there's 150 people on the sales floor. And we were going from like 300 loans a day to like 30 to 50. But what did I tell myself? There's 30 to 50 people every single day that want a loan. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to go get it. Like, why not? Listen, that person got a loan. I'm going to get a loan. There's no reason why they got that loan. They're not luckier than I am, right? I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be more diligent, and I'm going to make myself successful. And that's really what it came down to. You have to remind yourself. And right now, for loan officers listening to this is still a $2.4 trillion year next year.
Amen. Thank you for saying that.
$2.4 trillion year. I mean, if you look at the industry average from 2010 to up until this refi boom, it was like 1.7 billion, and that was a healthy industry, right? So I mean, we had some years of 1.3 billion. So we're still talking really healthy numbers. Yes, you have to adjust. You have to become more efficient. A week and a half to a year ago, you could be, it's like fishing in a lake that there's no food, and you can just throw a hook out there and any fish is going to happen. Yeah. Now you got to go do some work. You got to go troll. You have to go out in the ocean. You got to try different lines, different lures, but those fish are still out there, right? The people are still getting them. There's 2.5 trillion of them, right? That's a lot.
And the good thing about it is the business cleans itself. The people who left, I don't know, the car lot to come work in the mortgage business, they're gone. They went back, and they're on their way back. And this is something that, when you said that, I just got a smile in my heart, because that's the true mortgage pros. They find a way to see where there is something in the system that they can improve. And then what's funny is, here I am looking at you 23 years later, and I just saw the fire in your eye when you said, if they're closing 30 or 50 a month, I can close 30 or 50, one of those kind of deals. And it's that aggression. It's controlled. It is methodical, but it's that aggression. There is nobody is better than I am.
That's right. Listen, you have to be pumped up. I used to play football, I box, I've done all kinds of, physical sports. And, before games, I'm getting pumped up. The truth is, I do that even today in my current job. There's times when I'm feeling a little down. I'll jump up, with my hands over my head, I'll clap my hands, I'll have a mantra I tell myself, and I get myself back into the feeling of, I'm going to make something happen, right? Yeah. And there's always an opportunity to do that, right? Great people and successful people, even when things are tough, find a way to do something positive. I tell people, something I've done through these years, and I've ran mortgage companies. So my experience was, I was a loan officer, then I was a lender. Okay, in 2010, I became part of People's Bank. People's Bank sold in 2018. I was a shareholder and investor, and we helped them grow. But I've always been in, managing the sell side, and it's always, that conversation's always around the right mindset, right? How do you keep the right mindset? And sales is sales. It's, it's the easiest, hardest job, or it's the hardest, easiest job. Like, it's depending on who you are, that's how it kind of lays out. And then if you got to have that motivation, right? You have to get yourself up, and you got to get yourself pumped, and you have to learn, right? You want to grow, do new things too.
No, that's awesome. So take me into that. You mortgage business, and now all of a sudden, it's just, to me, it sounds like a normal, natural evolution that you go from loan officer to tech guy building out a CRM. I mean, I think that's what everybody does, right?
Naturally.
Naturally, yeah. I'm the normal course.
But so for a systems-based guy,
oh, no, I'm with you.
The natural progression is to automate all those systems, right?
I mean, so I'm as people call me, I used to say I was an undercover nerd. I used to be a computer programmer.
Okay.
And I was going to school to be an engineer.
So you're the king of APIs.
We are. Actually, that's our plan. If you talk about technology, if you look at our software right now, that's why we've been successful. We have more APIs and webhooks than any other tech platform out there right now. We're 100% we're a microservices platform, which means every piece of code is connected through APIs. So our whole system is based on APIs. So there's anything you want to do with our system, you can. But that was, again, back to the engineering background and, wanting to do. But hey, listen, I like to sell. I like to be competitive. I remember when I had a sales team leader, he goes, Josh, I have to tell you something. If you're having a slow day, I just have to say there's a can of Coke, whoever turns in the most deals today, and you're going to win because you want that can of Coke.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. I've noticed, it doesn't matter what it is. If there's a competition, you want to win. Like, that's right. And that, that's what you have to go, I think that's the mindset all loan officers have to have. And if you don't win every competition, you're still going to make more money.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you say that about you have more APIs than any other system. I was helping a real estate agent the other day because everybody sells you a CRM out of the box and says this will make you more money, and they never tell you how to set it up. It's always the most complicated. I mean, to me, and I probably can't say their name, so I won't say their name. It's SF, one of the greatest systems. If you have a $250,000 engineer sitting in your back pocket to make it work for you, it is one of the best systems. I was helping a real estate agent the other day with a real estate branded CRM, and we were trying to set up integration in it, and the only built-in API that this real estate CRM had was to a company that the name starts with a Z. And that's the only what you just did is what I did when I saw that. And I said, I'm not positive, but if that's the only API in here, you should probably look and see where your data is going and how it's being used and stored. And I may look. Tell me why yours is different. Tell me, is yours 100% mortgage?
Yeah. It's 100% mortgage, but what you just said. So first, from a tech platform, the system was built for loan officers, for people I managed. In the consumer direct role, I spent about $40 million marketing mortgages. I used this to manage it. So it was built in real time. I had sales managers, and I wanted my sales managers to be hyper efficient. So we built sales screens and management tools so they can manage their team. So it wasn't like, hey, let me see what people want. It was in real world, as I'm doing this right now, how do I make this work better for me today? So I think just the tech, what you just said, as far as setting it up, there are, as you mentioned, that other system, and you need more than one engineer. You need like probably 4 or 5, and then you need a project manager. Then you need to do all the brain power yourself to figure out what you want to build. And then it's still, when you do all that, the user interface isn't that great, and loan officers don't want to use it.
And then you've got to have the most patient human being in the world that's working as a go-between between your company and their company, because they're the most frustrating human beings in the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
We get mortgage. So we came out of this with a different approach. We're mortgage specific. We understand what mortgage, loan officers, marketing people, what everyone needs to do in their job. So we built something mortgage specific, very mortgage specific. That's just hands down what it is best practices. We have content, strategy, all kinds of stuff for loan officers. The second thing you said is how we were different was you mentioned the API thing. everyone uses this term. I'll just spend like 60 seconds on this, but it's a term people use. What it is, API is an application protocol interface, which just means it's a way to get data to and from a system. However, it's not like I have a one API and then I can do whatever I want with the system.
No.
Each API functions one task. Like it could be check for someone with the name of Z, check for someone's last name. Do I have that record? Yes or no? And that could be potentially all that it does is it can say, yes, Josh, friends in my system as well. That could literally be the only thing the API does. Maybe it lets me create a lead. Like it may let me do some small updates. What we're talking about, our system, you could literally, you could build a complete user interface, your own front end to our platform through our APIs. If you were wanting to use, we have a distribution engine. So when leads come in, it looks at the digital lead, or a phone call comes in, knows who it belongs to, routes those calls, finds the next person who's up and available for that lead, and gives them that lead. You can do the same thing from your website. If someone were to go online and say, I want to find a loan officer, your website could hit our API and ask, who's the next loan officer who's up for distribution that is in California that can do purchase transactions? Our system would come back and tell your website who that is, and then we know in our system that when that lead comes in, it's assigned to Josh Friend. So, I mean, it gives you the ability to use our technology, not just in our platform, but in your other platforms. And you can use those tools. And I think that's the big difference. And so in order to do that, you have to have a lot of APIs. Right? You have to have a lot.
And I'm assuming that yours has some sort of telephony, some sort of system like that, to where it comes in, it lets the person know who it is, what it is, so forth, puts it in there. Because one of the biggest problems from way back in the beginning of my mortgage career, my brother got in about 6 months after I did, and he was an e-commerce guy like you. He was a direct-to-consumer. One of the biggest problems they had was buying leads, and it was almost like watching the economy. You don't know what happened until the month after because you didn't get the report until the month after. You have no idea how many leads and how it was distributed. You have no idea where they went, if they were followed up with, all of those things. So what they would do, and especially in times like this, and I'm leading you into something because you're either going to pass or fail on this one. So the problem is when we got into times like we're in now, where all of a sudden the volume has turned off a little bit, and you just said it's $2.4 trillion business. We're not turned off, but it's dumbed down a little bit. Tell me how your system is going to help me manage instead of me spending another $50,000 a month on Lending Tree or whatever it may be.
Yeah, great question. So a couple of things. First, to your point of, hey, buying the leads and you don't understand what happened until a month or so afterwards, right? That changes. So what you do in our system, and this is what you watch for. So if I'm buying leads, there's early indicators of sales. There's contact rate, credit pull rate, disclosure rate, percent the processing rate. There's a handful of gates that you can tell how well this lead's performing. So our system's going to show you, like, so today you're going to know, like, so we have lenders who literally during the day make lead adjustments and buys during the day in real time because they're seeing, oh, the contact rate on this lead source is like 20%. This is crap. It should be at 40%. This lead source is at 45%. Let's get more there. Then they look at, okay, credit pull. Well, the credit pull is better. You know, then you can actually see these early indicators of where the business is coming. You don't have to wait till, a month or two later and say, gee, we spent a bunch of money. What happened? You can know right now. And that's what, that's how you're going to be, super efficient, is by actually seeing that, early on in real time. And then the second thing is the system's going to market for you. So, AFN has been a great customer of ours for many years. Mike Metalka was one of our earliest customers. And he was on what was called a legacy platform, one of our original pieces of software. But we started really growing about 3 years ago. And when we started to really grow is when we came out with what I call an engagement platform, which is basically it automates. And this is what, to your question, I don't want to go spend $50,000 more in Lending Tree. How can I get more of what I got? Well, our system automates marketing journeys. Emails, texts, ringless voicemail, social media posts, Instagram, Facebook, direct mail, and phone calls, and it has strategy and content. So the business you currently have, it's going to stay in front of that business you currently have and make sure you're top of mind with that customer, and not just an email, but through multiple channels, so it becomes rich and engaging for them. So that's one of the ways is actually marketing. And then the second thing is just giving loan officers and marketers better access to their data. So that's the thing. There's 2.4 trillion in business that's going to happen. You have to figure out, before you talk to 100 customers, 98 could get a loan.
Yeah.
Now you talk to 100 customers and 30 are in the market. You have to have systems and tools, and our system can do that. We have prioritizations and queues that look at different things like FICO and interest rate and credit score and loan amounts. You can start serving up the best opportunities for who you should be calling. So that's another way, just kind of being more efficient. Make sure hey, listen, make 300 phone calls, but make sure it's 300 phone calls to the 300 people that are best qualified, not just 300 random phone calls and only 100 of them qualify, right? So be more intelligent about it.
That's awesome. Now, I am not a direct-to-consumer guy. It's never been anything in my wheelhouse. I have always been a traditional purchase money, referral partner, mortgage guy my whole life since 1994. I was the one that my broker handed me a box of donuts and a rate sheet and said, go get some business. And for some reason, that real estate agent was supposed to give me their one and only transaction this month. Tell me how Insellerate can help me, my kind of loan officer, in that business if I'm not a lead buyer. Because we know, it for a fact, that those are two different animals.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that happens right now is loan officers get underneath pressure and they start looking at anything. I'm going to try mail. I'm going to try leads. I'm going to try, and they just get in this mode because, last, 6 months ago, I'm closing 12 deals a month. Now I'm closing 4 deals a month, 3 deals a month. We get desperate. So we've got to stay on our road. Tell me how your system's going to help me.
Yeah,
purchase money.
That's really good, Johnny, because I am a direct consumer guy, and it's a different world. It really
beyond
is.
different world. Yeah.
You look. I mean, as a direct consumer person, I'm looking at marketing strategies and tactics, and everything's an experiment. Everything's about gathering data and learning and figuring out what works better than the next thing. Yeah. But when you're face to face with a realtor, it's just a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, I think in that area where we come in, one is our partner marketing. So just like we have engagement for loan officers, we have engagement for partners. And we actually have workflow. So you can put in, let's say you work with 50 real estate agents you're calling, all those people can be in our system. And they can have their own management, their own activities, processes, information. You can access this from your mobile phone. So check this out. Think of this. This is what we have retail lenders right now doing. I'm having lunch with Susie, who's giving me business. Susie says, Josh, what's going on with, my Jacobs file and so forth? And I go, well, let me tell you. I pull up on my phone, my mobile phone, and I can actually go in there and look at rate lock expiration dates. I can actually look at the file and the information from Encompass through my mobile phone. I can then also say, gee, Susie, you've sent me, wow, great. You've sent me 15, deals recently. I can see every application that Susie sent me, right? And then I'm able to actually interact with it and say, well, here's what's going on with this one. Here's what's going on with that one. So I'm able to manage, Susie better, if you will, right? So I'm just going to.
So on the fly, you got the analytics right there for everything she sent you.
Well, let's see. So this is like my first time home buyers, right? So this is the different folks. And I'm going to come in here and look at my partners. And all right, so here I got a VIP partner, Jim Thompson. My VIP partner. Oops, if
you get a chance, Josh, could you send us screenshots of that without sending us any proprietary information?
Yeah, so this is like an associated application. This is all Jim Thompson's leads. All the loans he's giving me. I want to know what's going on with this one. I can actually just go ahead and say, Spencer, what's going on with Spencer's file? Now I'm in the Spencer's file. I want to know what's going on with program offers, services info. What do we offer them? Anything you want from Encompass, you can have on here as well. So think about having that power. So now I'm out on the road and I can actually see every deal you've given me. Not only that, the system's now marketing to these people, keeping them informed, right? Keeping them up to date. So this has been really powerful for us. And it reports on who's giving you business. And then something we just recently released was called Agent Connect, which we're super excited about. That's a co-marketing portal where the real estate agent and the loan officer has access to. The realtor can go in there and create open house flyers, payment flyers, single page property websites. It integrates the pricing. So, and actually what's kind of cool is if you have a real estate agent and you're connected with them, and they say they accept your partner request, anytime they list a home in the MLS, it automatically creates a flyer with pricing and websites and everything all ready for them. So all the realtor has to do is just hit print, and they're ready to go. So it automates all these processes. So now the realtor, you go out there, you can have an open house flyer in front of there with pictures and different rate programs. It also has a nice QR code and a text number. So the realtors put that QR code out in the front of the house, QR this for more information, or text here for more information, and then that connects to our system, and now it engages the customer, and now we're engaging that customer and giving them back to they're either the realtor or the loan officer. So that's another thing we're really excited about.
So every other loan officer that's sitting there with Susie that gets that question asked, I know this without a doubt in my mind, has to say, well, let me call my assistant, or when I get back to the office, let me look it up and I'll send it to you. Susie knows you're not going to remember to do that. It's not going to happen. And I love how you've got it right there on the fly inside of your system. I'm assuming it works on Android and iOS and everything. That is awesome. So one thing I'm going to guess really quickly is that you are still, I assume by now you're not the only one coming up with ideas and new programs, but you are still doing this every day as opposed to somebody else is running your company for you.
That's right. We have other people in the organization that are giving ideas, but I'm very involved in this. Like if you talk to the lenders we work with, I enjoy this. I miss running a mortgage company, to be honest with you. It's been, and I miss that. It's fun because there's always moving parts. And what I love about the mortgage industry is you can come into any organization and there's things you can improve upon immediately to make more money. It's just, everyone, even as good as you get, eventually you have weakness because there's so many different parts of the business to spend time on. So I just like being part of it.
I've got two massive questions I want to ask you before we get off of here. The first one is, like I said, every CRM system that's out there that's in a box comes out. One, I don't get anybody real to ever talk to. If I want to know how to do it, they send me a digital 27-page manual, and I've got to try. And then the language never makes up, and then we always come up with this excuse. We've got to update our things like that. So tell me why yours is different than anybody else's, because I want to use your system and I want to start using it today. So tell me how that works.
So right now, let's say if you're an AFN loan officer.
Yes, sir, AFN.
You have a couple different options. One, there's a corporate instance that you can just literally just go and sign up for, and you have access. It already has a workflow built out. Everything's done. It's all set up. It's integrated to Encompass. Everything's nothing you have to do.
No.
I want to sign up, and you're ready to go. Now you're on live. Now let's say you're a branch and you say, I want to have my own system and do it all on my own and do it all my own way. Sure. In 30 days, your system will be completely up and running. And what we do is we use best practices, right? So we're going to come to you and understand how do you do your business, propose, here's some best practices, here's the workflow. Tell us if you want to make any changes. You say yes or no. We make those changes, don't make those changes. And then we turn it back over and say, test this, tell us if this works. You're not doing anything. You're just signing off on what's being done. You're just saying yes or no to what we've done for you. So it's not you have to go do the work yourself. You're just giving us the approval of yes, that looks right, or no, please change that or do something. It's as easy as that. Get set up and you're going. And I think that is, the fact that we have mortgage experience and industry knowledge, I think is one of the things. Not one of it is why we become successful as a company. I knew Mike Metallica because he knew me from the mortgage industry. And we had similar friends, and I was a big lead buyer, and so was he. So there is, what that just means is we understand the business you're in, right? So we're fundamentally trying to solve the challenges that loan officers face every single day. And that's really our mission, is help you guys close more loans.
And the fact that you're here local and I don't have to try and get a hold of a service center somewhere offshore. Now, here's my next one. This is one that, so I've owned a few mortgage companies myself, been in the business for 28 years now, and I realize that there is a T in mortgage, originator myself, all of those things. One of the things that I am going to try and push and help with at AFN, I am fairly new to AFN. End of May is when I was brought on with AFN, but one of the things that I have always wanted to do is I have always wanted for every vendor that the mortgage company works with to not be a vendor, to be a partner. and not only be a partner, because that's just a cliche thing. It's like using the word entrepreneur or something like that. It's just cliche. But here's what I want to do. I want to know your thoughts as not only a mortgage guy, as a mortgage company previous owner, as a tech guy. I want to know what your thoughts are on if I asked every one of my vendors to please operate within each other's systems to where I could build a, not necessarily flawless, but I want to build a nice flowing system. So if I said, Josh, I want to use Insellerate, but I need you to work with MBS Highway, and I need to be able to build an API between MBS Highway and Insellerate so I could get all of Barry's information in working with your system. But I also wanted to work with Encompass. I also wanted to work with, these other systems. Is that something that is not possible? Is that something that, tell me what that looks like?
A lot of the things that you've mentioned are probably already existing integrations. And if they're not existing integrations, again, because of our APIs and webhooks, it makes it extremely easy to connect to a new system. So if we haven't connected to MBS Highway, I would be surprised if we haven't. But if we haven't,
no, I'm just throwing that. That's just an example.
But that's an example. And Encompass, I know for sure we've integrated to Encompass very well. Very tight in Encompass integration. Phone systems, we've integrated to tons of phone systems, 10 or plus POSs. So the integration, it's very possible. What I always tell people is this: the only time you won't get an integration with our platform and another platform is if the other platform doesn't allow for it. We're never going to be the thing that stops from integration. And you can talk to our customers that use us. We have lenders that literally run over 10 million API calls a month. So think about that.
Perfect.
That's 3 million a day. That's a lot. I mean, that's an insane amount of. But we're moving their service and platform data around, their phone system, their pricing engine, their LOS, their POS, their data warehouse. We're integrated to everything, doing it all. So it just means for a loan officer, if you use our software, you're going to have the most integrations through our platform than you will from anywhere else. And as time goes on, you'll continue to get the most.
The reason I ask you that question is I was talking to a friend of mine day before yesterday that owns a fairly good-sized mortgage company out of New England. And I am a huge proponent of electronic business cards. I won't mention the specific one that I use, but one of the things I do, I speak in front of crowds all of the time. And it's anywhere from a few dozen to a few thousand people. One of the things that I like doing personally is I take my electronic business card that I have and I give it to the very first person, and I have my personal information, my cell phone, my email address, my website, everything right inside there. And I say, if you want my information, and then as I'll pass it through, if there's, let's say, 50 people in the audience, I'll have 61 downloads from that. And inside of the electronic business card system that I use, there are integrations into other systems. They've got the APIs built out. But for me, one of the things that I try and promote to loan officers is when you go to one of these events where you're putting on some sort of presentation for 40, 50, 60, 100 realtors, if you would do the same thing, pass that business card around. Now think about it. It's one of the easiest things, in my opinion. I pass that electronic business card around. I have 100 real estate agents download my information. I get notification that they did it. If I could upload that immediately into my CRM and talk to my referral partners from day one, as soon as they download it, 2 hours later, I can send an email out that says, thank you so much for downloading my information. Let me know what I can do to help you.
That's exactly what the system is built for. And what you just nail on the head is, how do you automate those communications? How do I take data to then automate communication to customers? Really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Whether it's a phone call or an email or a text message, our system manages it, right? So you can call through our platform. You can take calls through our platform. You can text through our platform. All these things are done through our platform. So that's really what it comes to. It's take it in there, and it's actually a great workflow. I love it.
Sounds awesome.
That's great, because as soon as you centralize your communications like that, you can automate them.
That's right.
And every text or voicemail drop that you do that's automated is time that an originator can be spending at a new realtor's office. It's just it's the process of multiplying yourself, right? You want to perform at a higher level than one of you? Well, this is a way to create more of you, to work to work simultaneously.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Is there anything that I didn't ask you, Josh, that I should have?
No, I mean, just since this is AFN and we love you guys, we will be next week out at the show.
Cool.
So I'm sure I'll see you guys. My team will be there. We'd love to talk to you. Love to talk to you guys. Your special pricing we've given to AFN with some special feature sets as well. So reach out to us, and we'd love to see how we can help you.
And
So
for anybody
look forward to
who's
that.
not a part of AFN and they're interested in the Insellerate platform, how do they get a hold of you?
Just go to our website, insellerate.com,
Perfect.
ask for a demo, and then our system manages our leads. So you'll see what the process looks like.
Very cool. If you're happy with how you're contacted and
I mean,
if the rate that you're followed up with, then
I get
then
text,
there you go.
Just giving, I get text messages on my phone if my sales team doesn't call a new lead that's been assigned to them that they've taken within an hour. They don't actually physically make a phone call. And I know if they don't, my phone, I get a text message that says this lead wasn't called and Scott Roberts has it. So I can say, hey, Scott, I can set it for a minute. I can set it for 5 minutes, but I just set it for an hour. Or I could say automatically give it to someone else to call, which we do. We have another team that once it hits that hour, it shows up in their queue. They start calling on it. So, I mean, that's the automation that you want, right? I think so. If you'll get the experience if you ask us for a demo.
That's amazing.
And then I'm assuming all of that's sitting on the dashboard. So if Scott doesn't make enough phone calls, if Scott doesn't follow up with the leads, that shows.
Oh, it shows, it's reported on, and then it's also automated to go into another workflow so someone else works on it.
So one last thing, and you just made me think of something. So if I wanted to, then I could have a 85-inch monitor sitting in the bullpen. I could have it sitting anywhere with a dashboard showing people who's active, showing people who's making things happen, and showing the ones that need improvement.
That's right.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Mike, it's yours, baby.
Love it, man. I mean, if you got nothing else for us, Josh, we got nothing else for you. I think we've said it all.
We said it all. No, I appreciate it, guys. This is great.
But thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate that very much. I know it's a tough time in the industry right now for a lot of people, and if this is something that can help gain some sort of advantage, over the next person. Like me and Johnny talk about a lot. When it comes to the whole of loan officers in the nation, the bar has been set pretty low. Most of the time, you just got to show up every day and try, and you're going to be in the upper tier. This is a way to automate some things and get you into the upper level of those upper tiers, maybe without a whole bunch of extra effort, just more intentful planning and putting something in place that can work for you. So that's awesome. Thanks a lot for coming on with us. We appreciate it. For everybody who's listening or watching, thanks for tuning in to Fly the Flag, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.